Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Walking the Earth, India. Today we're exploring Central Asia at Ladakh's Central Asian Museum inside the oldest mosque, the oldest masjid in Ladakh. And it's a beautiful little humble structure with simply carved wood columns and a nice little unique mihrab, and then the seat for the imam to give the khutbah on Jummah with the sunnah stick. And I like the roof, simple. It's like bamboo at different angles. It's nice, and wood. This museum is very nice. It's in an old Ladakhi mansion, and it has photographs and items that have been donated from a variety of organizations and individuals. The Tsas Soma Masjid here, which was established, I believe, in 1665, when the Ladakhis submitted to Aurangzeb, the great Timurid Mughal ruler. When they submitted to his rule, he had them build the Tsas Soma Masjid. And so you get to see photos of it from when it was one story and kind of looked like a Tibetan Gompa, a Tibetan temple. There was one story in 1861, and then there's a second photograph from the 1880s where it's two stories. And then also this item right here was dedicated, in an older version was dedicated and donated to the museum that's inside, and a number of Qurans, including a Quran with Persian translation, books of Kashmiri poetry with beautiful calligraphy, and then items from the Tibetan side, from the Ladakhi side of Central Asia. It explores the Silk Road and its relationship to Ladakh and to Leh, which was very interesting. Looking at the connections to Kargil, to Skardu, to Gilgit and Baltistan, and then there's some excellent maps in there, and it's well labeled. I believe they have an audio tour as well. I saw a man returning one, and I'm assuming that's what it was, because I didn't get one. I just did a self tour. Just went and read the items. And when you get to the top, it has great views of old Leh. So you can see the Gurdwara is right there. That's associated with a miracle of Guru Nanak. Apparently he traveled to this area, and he planted I believe a miswak stick, and it turned into a giant tree. And they have a langar there, so they offer free meals 24/7, from my understanding, to anybody. And I think that's a brilliant piece of spiritual expression, spiritual practice. And I wish that more humans would follow that kind of an example. And I believe that's also connected to an old Chisti tradition and Sufi tradition that influenced the Sikhs. Anyway, so they were very kind to us when we went to visit. So from the top here, you can see the Gurdwara, you can see Old Leh, you can see the old palace and the fort. You can see there are these huge mountains. I think some of them are 6,000 meters tall, that are snow-capped, and they're magnificent, off in the near distance. So anyway, so this Central Asian Museum is quite impressive. And for the Muslims, it would be very, I'm sure you would appreciate to come and pray a couple rakat here. It looks as if they do pray in Jamaat, but I wasn't able to make it there. Instead, I prayed Dhuhr in Jamaat at the Tsas Soma Masjid, very near here, which is a beautiful building. It was they renovated the old building from I think the 1880s. And finished it up in 2018. They're still working on the upper levels, and the outside is beautiful. I'll be posting some videos showing the detailing, the wood detailing with calligraphy. It's so beautiful from the outside, but the inside, it's very unique. They've got some Kashmiri paper mache detailing up near the mihrab. They also have, it's painted and decorated all throughout in a more Ladakhi and Tibetan style, um, but in an Islamic way. So it's very unique, and that's something else I just wanted to add on. Um, Having briefly traveled to Srinagar in Kashmir and then driven the beautiful road between there and here in 11 hours in a taxi to Leh, um, I would just say that in Srinagar there were such unique masajid. The mosques there are so unique. Like the detailing, you'll see influences from different areas of Central Asia and South Asia, but the Kashmiris, they do it in a very beautiful way. They're craftsmen, they're artisans, are top notch, and I was really impressed. They were some of the most beautiful mosques I've ever seen. I've traveled a number of places around the world, and it just, these are always going to stand out in my mind, but also in my heart. I really liked the energy in the masajid and the shrines in Srinagar. And then today, it just felt so good to pray with my brothers at the Jama Masjid. Um, one one thing that's kind of a bit of a downer, so to speak, is that unfortunately it looks like I didn't see, like in Srinagar, the Jama Masjid, sisters can go, but there were a number of mosques that we went to that the sisters can't go inside. Even like Muslims can't go in, even if they happen to be an architect, which is interesting to me. So because Muslima architects would be very interested in seeing mosques everywhere, right? So, why can't sisters go in and worship? And also, I've just noticed as I've traveled to mosques around the world, why is it that so many of the sisters, their prayer section, if you're in a beautiful mosque, they've got a curtain, a sheet in front, and if they're on the same level as the brothers, and they can't see any of the beauty of the mosque, and they're not participating in it unless they're in an upper gallery, perhaps, that can look down. That's a little aside, and I think that it's a bit, it's not only unfortunate, but I think it's kind of shameful, actually. Of course, because I think that everybody should be able to worship together, and we should have sisters and brothers and families worshiping together. I've been to a number of mosques, and it's kind of blown my mind just how like families aren't going. You know what I mean? It's like I think of Islam as a family deen, but that's just me. That's just a little aside. Something I'm trying to process and understand. I know there are cultural aspects to it, but I don't think it matches up with the principles of Islam. Um, and I'd love to hear your opinions of it, your thoughts on the matter. Um, but I've gone on a little bit of a tangent, but I just wanted to say that there are some really amazing places to worship and spend time and contemplate all across Kashmir and Ladakh, and I'd love to explore it more. On the way from Srinagar to Leh, we passed an area that's actually an extension of Baltistan, out by Kargil, and there's a village called Hunderman that I wanted to visit, but we didn't have time, and a number of places near there, just because I'm interested in comparative religion, and I'm interested in knowing every different aspect of all things connected to Islam, and what Muslims think about Islam, and what it is, what it has been, what it could be. And that area is predominantly Shia, so it was kind of, I'm doing a double take as I'm driving down the road, and I see a picture of, the current Ayatollah from Iran and Ayatollah Khomeini, and then see golden domes in the background that are reminiscent of the Karbala shrine in Iraq. And so I would have loved to have visited this area and seen, I've never witnessed any Shia rituals or anything. So it'd be interesting for me to see, just being interested in comparative religion. So this part of India and this part of South Asia, which really is where Central Asia and South Asia meet, the two seas of Central Asia and South Asia meet here in this region of Ladakh and Kashmir and also Gilgit-Baltistan. And there's so many different um, diverse expressions of Islam in these regions, all with their own unique architecture, um, and other traditions that I'd be very interested in learning more about. This is a fascinating area that deserves more time and attention. And inshallah, I'll get a chance to explore it more in the not so distant future. I pray that I get to return and pray here and explore, get to know my brothers in these regions. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut this short, but you are loved and appreciated, and I really appreciate my brothers and sisters in these areas, and I'm praying for you, and I'll continue to pray for you, and like hopefully just showing a little bit of the beauty of the architecture and the landscapes. What little I can contribute will let people know a little about the excellence that's here. There's some heavy political topics. I'm not going to go into those because I don't know much about them. But maybe I'll discuss some of the things that I observed at some point. But now is not the time. But it feels really good to be in places where people have poured out their hearts in devotion, in salah, in dua, in dhikr over many centuries. So if this is the oldest one, I didn't see the date on it, but this would precede the 1600s. So I'm guessing sometime between the 14 and 1500s. Correct me if I'm wrong, and then if I can, I'll try to edit in and put the proper dating and the name of this mosque, this masjid, at a later point. So until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.